Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca Jones and I'm currently a candidate for Congress running against Matt Gaetz in Florida's 1st Congressional District. I am also the Florida scientist and COVID-19 whistleblower who was fired, raided, jailed, smeared, and attacked for exposing Ron DeSantis for lying about COVID stats. Thank you guys who have followed my story. I do have some news. This morning, the 2+ years long investigation into my whistleblower complaint finished. And I'll read this verbatim. I made a protected whistleblower disclosure as defined by the Whistleblower Act. I otherwise engaged in protected activity for the purposes of this statute. And I demonstrated in my complaint a violation of law which creates and presents a substantial and specific danger to the public's health, safety, or welfare. I also demonstrated actual or suspected gross mismanagement or malfeasance, misfeasance, gross waste of public funds, suspected or actual Medicaid fraud or abuse, or gross neglect of duty committed by an agency or agent of an agency or independent contractor. So this investigation looked at 2 points: the legitimacy of my complaint itself and whether or not I was retaliated for filing it. And in the first, I did demonstrate that the state was putting people in danger. However, I did not incur adverse action as defined by the Act after filing a complaint with the Commission. I was fired in May, the day after I asked my boss how to file a whistleblower complaint. I was given 60 days per the statute to file that whistleblower complaint, and I did so in July, 2 months later. And now the state has said that because I was already fired when I filed, that they don't see that as adverse action because I was no longer an employee. I was fired because I was going to file it. And because they fired me before I did, it doesn't matter that their actions showed a clear violation of law, which creates and presents a substantial and specific danger to the public's health, safety, or welfare. They did that, but I didn't file it before I was fired, so it cannot be considered retaliatory. They have recommended that we take the next step to proceed, and within 180 days from receiving this letter, which I received today, file civil action in court, which we're going to do, and we're not going to waste 180 days before we do it. This is very similar to the Department of Health Inspector General's report that came out earlier this year that determined that I told the truth about the state lying and hiding data, but that there was no specific rule or policy against it, so therefore no one would be punished. And it continues upon the Auditor General's report, which came out not long after that, saying that the state of Florida undercounted cases and even deaths in the thousands in the first 6 months of the pandemic alone. After more than 2 years of waiting, the report was finalized the same day that Grant Stern broke the story that the state was using the raid on my home and the single charge they filed against me as retaliation. They requested that I drop this investigation in order to have charges dismissed. They came to me 3 times offering to dismiss everything, and each time we told them to get lost. And they wanted me so urgently to drop it because if I did, with the report coming out just days after Grant issued that story, none of these findings would have been made public. They would have gotten away with it. We told them to go fuck themselves. We told them we wanted a trial immediately. They said they'll do it in 6 months. We're taking every single one of these people to court. And if the only thing that these people understand is money, they're going to be hurting real bad real soon. So thank you for everyone who's followed this. This is the end, finally, of this part of this chapter. And although they decided that since I filed after I was fired, it wasn't retaliatory to fire me, they also just said that everything I said was true. It's the third report that did that. This has not been an easy road. You know, I've done so many events. I've had some really great conversations with other whistleblowers. Dan Ellsberg's a good friend. Tyler Schultz has been amazing and inspiring for me. And we all come back to people and say, you know, you have to do it. You have to come forward. Someone needs to speak up. But it's really hard to tell people that they'll make your life a living hell for it, especially if it's the government that you're blowing the whistle on. They will do everything in their power to try to destroy you. And the governor that I blew the whistle on happens to be a sociopath. And that's not my language. Matt Gaetz said that about Ron DeSantis. He said, you can't teach empathy. He's the same person who wants to indoctrinate children with alt-right propaganda and wants to punish teachers who do their job. He wants to strip libraries of books like The Diary of Anne Frank, but allow books like Marxism and anti-everything decent books. He's an evil, smart, calculating son of a bitch who feels like he's won every single fight except mine. And he'll never win mine. And he doesn't understand why that is. And it's because I have truth, and I've always had truth by my side. And I was never interested in money or power or fame. I'd give all that up in a heartbeat to take him down. So apparently this girl with a laptop is going to help bring down Ron DeSantis. And I'm totally fine with that. Whistleblowing isn't easy. I'm just not built with the capacity to ignore something that's wrong, especially when lives are at stake. I just don't have that in me, and I'm stubborn and loud-mouthed and refuse to bend to people who threaten me. If I had caved to their third attempt to try to get me to agree to a dismissal, this report would have never come out. But it has now. And they can't lie about it, and they can't hide it. Officially, on May 18th, 2020, I was terminated from the Florida Department of Health without cause. I still have that letter. Fired me, they said, for no reason. And now they've said everything I said was true. But I should have filed my complaint before I got fired for it. Oh, well, I gotta decimate Matt Gaetz. He's a pervert and came after my kid. So refocus, re-energize, and kick both those sons of bitches out of office. So thank you guys. And we're gonna be in for a long, crazy ride.